Hello, viewer on YouTube. Welcome to, I think it's episode 48 of Connection Over Coffee. I'm super thrilled to have Ed here. And before we, start properly recording the podcast, I just want to say that, Ed, you and I have been speaking for about the last half an hour.
Mm.
And so it's, I don't know, but I'm done. There's no more words in the quota anymore. So this is going to be, a podcast in mine.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Yeah, we've certainly caught up about everything. We do similar work. We have similar interests. Fair enough. I'm kind of done as well. Should we wrap it?
Well, I'm going to need a liturgical dance from you, just to really sort of talk about the pain and the joy and the triumph.
Does that mean, is that the same as modern dance, liturgical dance?
Yeah,
interpretive?
it's kind of like interpretive dance. So I went to a Catholic school. Yes, I love how you emote. I can really feel it. I'm very uncomfortable now.
Was it a little bit? Yeah. There's something about vulnerability and neediness that is entrapped within sexiness as well. I think we all feel those things.
I definitely felt something.
I was giving it. I was doing my best.
So this is going to be awesome. And YouTube viewer, you have witnessed this before anyone else gets into the podcast. So it's really great that you're here. I'm going to put the professional voice on for a moment, but only a moment. And then we'll jump into the conversation. You good, Ed?
I'm good. I'm excited.
Okay. Ed Wilson, welcome so much to Connection Over Coffee.
Hey, Phil, lovely to be here. Thanks for having me.
Not at all. I have to say that I'm super excited to have you here because we did have a cracking conversation before we pressed record. And I already am noticing my cheekbones, my cheeks, starting to get sore. So I invite you to just sort of dial down the hilarity for a little while.
I'll do my best.
Yeah, that's not helping. Or I'll try and remain as stony faced about this.
Well, I mean, we're talking about loneliness, right? So we have to be sad. You can't be lonely and okay, right?
No. It's
you certainly can't be lonely and sarcastic either.
Well,
okay, I'm sorry.
I'm out. I sarcasm is my default mode. And just in case someone doesn't know who you are, just in case the viewer,
just in case
the viewer and the listener don't know who you are, who are you?
Who am I? My name is Ed Wilson. I am 33 years old. In the last 3 years, I came across a little old thing called life coaching, and it's been my absolute delight and pleasure to find the work that I truly want to do and to wrap the things in life that I care passionately in a fiery kind of way about into my work life. And so now I'm a life coach. I run Brown Bear Coaching. I'm also running the podcast called Gayborhood, which is about creating community amongst gay men and queer people. And that has a strong tie-in with you. I'm also making an illustrated book, which should be available next year, called A Gay Man, which explores the universal journey of shame, growing up and finding self-acceptance and finding yourself amongst the world. And yeah, all of these things mirror each other. You wouldn't be too surprised. And it's an absolute delight to be able to do this and be who I am. Is there anything else you'd like to know?
No. I think there's enough fodder in that little intro to talk about stuff for 5-6 hours.
Yeah.
But the illustrated book, are you the illustrator?
No, I'm getting a team together of it's probably going to end up about 30, 40 different artists. It's very cool. The central protagonist is quote unquote a gay man. So you could actually call him quote unquote a gay man. In every scene, he is somebody else, but he's always a gay man. And so each artist gets to represent themselves or the character as they see him, which gives you this feeling of this is a universal story. This isn't one person's experience. We all grew up, understood that we were different, felt shamed or wrong to some degree on some level. I still have clients today that deny that that's true. And then 5 minutes later, I ask them a bunch of questions and they're like, oh yeah, I guess all of that did happen because of shame. I'm like, yeah, and it's not unusual. It's not strange at all.
Yeah.
We're a minority. We are different. And we have been persecuted for at least a few hundred years. I like to think that we haven't always been persecuted, but it seems pretty common. We've always been different. Um, so yeah, a bunch of artists, and it is a universal story. So I am the author, but I'm not the illustrator.
Because I have to say, like I have, just this image of you like with your colored pencils, and your tongue sticking out just a little bit, and like really just sort of going to town on some illustrations.
Oh God, I
Um,
wish. I don't have a strength in artistic execution. I could learn it as a skill, like if I wanted to, right? But my partner's an artist, and I'm gonna leave it to him
yeah,
and my beautiful illustrators that I found for the book.
yes, good, good, good. Go with your strengths.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and something tells me something tells me that you're really good with the words.
I hope so. I hope so. I'm still full of trepidation and fear and nervousness the same way, very similarly that other people are. But yeah, it is a vital story that like deserves to exist. So I just have to be the servant of that mission and make it come true.
Nice, I love it. And there is a real nugget there, a real nugget in that response, and I really want to sort of zero in on that before we get any further.
Sure.
Because listener, viewer, when you are at your edge, when you're at the edge of your comfort, fear is omnipresent, and you have a choice when you are growing, to either stay as you are or work with the fear, acknowledge the fear, work with it, and take a step that helps you to continue to grow. And the difference between where you are now and where you want to be, particularly when it comes to loneliness and connection, relies on you getting tired of your own bullshit and going, okay, the fear of what could be is more preferred
Preferable.
than, yeah, more preferable. It's better than where you are now, the misery where you are now. And each and every time I have this conversation with someone, they have gotten to the point, to the pinnacle, like to the decision point, and it's a very narrow space, but somehow they want to both be comfortable and grow, and you can't do that. You can't do either. So growth requires you to like acknowledge the fear, work with it, and just like Ed's doing with your book, like get help.
I talk about comfort in discomfort. Just because I have these feelings, I can recognize them and say, yeah, I am afraid. I am nervous. I don't know if this will succeed. I do doubt myself. That's okay. That's what
Mm,
everybody does.
mm,
Of course I
mm.
fucking do. I'm human.
Yep, me too.
But I can
Me
still take
too.
action. I can still do the things because I know the direction that I have to move in if I want it to come real.
Yep.
Or I can succumb to the feelings and say, oh, the feelings are stronger than me. I can't finish the project. I'm too scared. I'm a loser. I'm a nobody. And it's kind of a false choice because that path sucks. I don't want
Yeah.
that. So I don't
Yeah.
choose it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Brilliant. Thank you. And viewer, listener, if there was any sort of doubt why I wanted to have this conversation to Ed, with Ed, I really hope that, well, that's dispelled it. There is no hope, that's smashed it. Like it is an irrefutable fact. Because Ed, I reckon we're going to have so many of these like little nuggets of wisdom, sort of liberally peppered throughout this conversation.
Mm.
And one of the things, well, not one of the things, you published a blog post. Well,
Mm.
I published it, you wrote it.
Mm.
And it was published last Thursday. So whatever date that is. So it's So on the 22nd of September, it was published.
Oh,
And
wait. It's the 20th today. So it must have been the 15th, was last
yeah,
Thursday.
no,
Oh, it will be published.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
my bad.
You've ruined it.
Oh, the magic is gone. The magic is gone.
Yeah, everyone, we're recording this on the 20th and it hasn't been published yet. But Ed's written it, and it's loaded, ready to go to be published on Thursday the 22nd. But you wrote it. You wrote
Yes.
it. And I want to just ask, what was the experience like for writing that? What was it like for you?
Well, when I first got the brief, I was in like this emotional, energetic mood feeling. I was like, I want to play with words. I want to be creative with this. I want to express myself in a creative way. So it's like there's two parts to the post. And the first is kind of my like Shakespearean soliloquy. I'm not even sure if that's the right word, but you know what I mean.
Yep. Yep. I'll allow
it. Thank
it.
you. Where I use the words in such a way that they are extra emotive, but it really does just try to bear the soul and to get across what I was intending. And so that was fun. Obviously I'm a people helping person. I'm a life coach. So opening myself up and being vulnerable is something I'm well rehearsed at now. But to do it for the joy of creating something that I hope people will get benefit from is joyous. And so, yeah, I felt a lot of feelings, but I like that experience. So I really enjoyed making it because I'm not afraid of difficult topics. I'm not afraid of big emotions. I'm not afraid of realness. Why should I be? So I'm not. So yeah, there's realness in there. There's negative emotions. There's things that other people might prefer to avoid or aren't really experienced in being comfortable with their discomfort. So yeah, I could tell you, I don't know, I shed a tear or something, but not quite. Not quite. But yeah, there was a lot of emotion and I got the words out and it was a joy to create it.
Yeah. You survived sharing, like
Yeah,
writing down your line.
I wasn't laughing and dancing.
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that I didn't enjoy the experience.
That's something that's really, really common. So Ed, you're the fourth person that I've had this similar conversation with, and who I've asked to write, their experience of loneliness. And it's really interesting, like viewer, listener, the brief is, I'd really love you to share your experience of loneliness with the audience. And that's pretty much all the brief that they get. Like, write your loneliness story. And whatever comes up for them, that's what I publish and that's what we have to chat about. And Ed, I have to say, like, I wondered if your blog was like already like you'd had it saved in your hard drive, ready to go, just in case of emergency.
More compliments. When are you gonna just take me off that pedestal for?
You smashed it back.
I'm
like
just a guy.
It was honestly, it felt like it was within the hour that I got it back from you. And
these things can be easy.
Yeah.
Was it Dolly Parton wrote one of her biggest smash hits by like clicking her nails together in her dressing room and wrote it in like 4 minutes or something.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Dolly Parton fan. Sorry, you've just lost 1 million followers. But like, I don't know, it doesn't spark me. But that's true for her. And I've heard those stories from artists. And in the creative process, if you're in the zone and you're feeling it and you just jump into your flow, you'll do what people would consider like 100 hours work in an hour.
Yeah.
You can. With the creative process, the sucky thing is when it won't come to you. So I did get it out in 40 minutes, 45 minutes, that first half.
Yeah.
And it's because I wanted to and it felt right and it was coming to me. So maybe it was pre-prepared by my life experiences of loneliness, which I'm extremely familiar with because they're mine. All I had to do was say, let it be real. Don't fight it. Let it come through and express yourself in the way that feels right for you in terms of this piece. And so it does come out easily.
I'm just marking that bit down because that is the quote. So far, that's the quote that will go on socials.
Cool.
Because this year at the Loneliness Guy, for me, and I wrote about this and published it in January. And at the beginning of the year, I remember sort of going, oh, you know, what's my theme? I need my theme for the year. And I don't do New Year's resolutions, but I do themes. And so 2021 was the year of authentic connection. And this year is let it happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I was doing a coaching call, and it was all about someone was saying, oh, you know, I'm like really, you know, they were getting really frustrated with like writing something about their experience and sort of wanting to deconstruct it. And essentially he wanted to get it right. He wanted to get it right and didn't want to, for whatever reason, get it wrong. And he really wanted, like, he was really struggling. He kept on saying, it just feels like, you know, that what I'm trying to say is just away from my fingertips. And I found myself quoting the Tame Impala song, Let It Happen. And that then I'm like, oh, I need to let it happen too. I need to let things happen and allow what is within to be. What is around me to be. I need to, you know, stop fighting it. I need to stop doing things, you know, as you've said offline, like the hard way. And to me, what you just said, and I really do think for the listener, for the viewer, that is another nugget of gold. Because the letting things flow, the acceptance of what is, the surrender is at once the easiest thing to say, but the hardest thing to do.
Do you want me to talk a bit more about it?
Please.
Yeah. So I read something yesterday. Well, I listen to audiobooks, so I heard it. But the one piece is me and you and the listener and the viewer hold within us, like literally, the spark of life. We are alive, right? When we sit with our thinking brain and our egos and we define who we are and we think, oh, we're not good enough, we live in a world of comparison and XYZ is this, that, and the other, we completely and utterly forget that within us, we hold the actual spark of life, which is the same as the spark of life that is covering the entire fucking planet and is within every living creature in exactly the same way. And we get so far away from that truth in regular life and being stuck in our heads that it's just crazy. The spark of life that is within you and me, when you sit still and you feel it, is just so unbelievably important and connective and loving and fun and creative. And like our awareness, presence, and consciousness is so amazing that when you can find stillness and realize the fact that no matter what anyone's ever said about you, no matter whatever's happened to you, whatever you've gone through, you are a living creature. You are filled with the spark of consciousness and being alive. This is the groundwork for let it come through. Because what are you going to think up with your mind, and what is your ego going to present us with that could be more vibrant and alive and amazing than the living spark of consciousness and existence that you, the real you, is? Just let that come through. Being that is more than enough. Being that is the thing that people will fall in love with about you. So if anyone's still out there chasing being something, I should be different, I've got to grow into this, I need this experience, I need this car, I need this job, I need this money. No, mate, you've already got it. You've already got it. You are a superstar, which is why you have to let it come through.
Yeah. Well said. Well said, because I pay attention to the words that we use. And the words that you're using there, Ed, there's a couple there, but one of them that I really want to zero in on is the word just. Just drips in judgment. Because what is you know, when you say, you know, just need to let that spark of genius essentially come through. That just is everything. Because for some people, that just, if we you know, think about, you know, a crack in the cement, you know, in I think, you know, the North Americans call it pavement, but you know, in a crack in a footpath, and you know, just getting across that crack, for some people, it's as easy as taking a step, and you clear it easily with lots of margins to spare. That just for other people might be a chasm as broad as the Grand Canyon. And one of the things there, you know, yes, we do need to let that, we need to let us shine. We need to let ourselves shine. We need to get out of our own way. We need to, you know, all the metaphors for being who we are. That just, I feel, is like where so many of us trip over the crack, imagining that just is the Grand Canyon. But once we actually take the step, we have the courage to take the step. We have the courage, and let it never be unsaid that it takes courage to allow what is.
Oh yeah. We've got a lifetime of training telling us not to.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Think that's going to be easy to overcome.
Yeah.
It might be. Again, with word usage, I don't ever want to suggest that this is any harder than it will be.
No,
it won't be. It will be just as hard as it will be. That is how hard it will be. But it might not be that hard.
In retrospect.
Yeah. I get it.
In
It looks
retrospect.
horrifying now. Yeah. You will know in retrospect. But for now, you can open your heart and your mind to maybe.
Yeah.
Because it's not defining anything. Let it be as hard as it is. It's fine. It's the right amount of hardness. Just go. Just.
Love it. Yeah, just right.
Yeah.
I love it, because one of the things that we can get, and me speaking personally, like I can like linger at that fork in the road. And I talk about the fork in the road all the time. Like I know that really I do need to go right, but going right is change. Left is the same. And you know, maybe if I go around, you know, left one more time, I'll be ready enough to go right. And each and every time, like I agonize at that right. And then within a few, like it feels like within a few moments after going, okay, I need to allow what is to be, that there's, as you said earlier, Ed, that flow state. And it doesn't mean that
composure.
it's easy. Yeah, it doesn't mean that it's easy. It doesn't mean that it's clean or tidy or convenient. Or
even that you'll succeed.
Exactly. But there's no success. There's no like success is, you know, I think success is a false god. It's like, if I don't do this, I won't succeed. It's like, perhaps if we have a look at the definition of success there, perhaps, you know, if we, you know, go for something that is, you know, like learning is the definition of success. If we're looking at everything,
trying,
potentially, like giving it a go. You know, if we look at, you know, well, success is the size of the balance in my bank account. It's like, meanwhile, there's like a string of broken relationships, broken people behind you, but look at you. You've got lots of zeros in your bank account. Is that really success? Could be. Anyway, like digressing.
No, absolutely not.
There.
No, it's, how do you measure success by dollars in a bank account? There's that stupid saying that's like, I'd rather be, I don't even know what it is, crying in a Maserati than like happy in a Ford or something like that. That's absolutely ridiculous. And that to me is just proof of like how fucking far this sickness of the idea that money, wealth, and status brings happiness has truly traveled.
I have a real objection to happiness as a goal.
Happiness is the sum result of achieving the things you actually want. Freedom, comfort, connection, self-expression. Right?
For me, happiness is a choice.
Ooh.
You could be driving around in a 1993 model Ford and be happy. You could have the latest model Maserati and be unhappy.
Yes.
You can, but someone who's driving around the Maserati may have told themselves that when I get a Maserati, I'll be happy.
Yeah.
I prefer, happiness is a choice, and we can choose to be happy right now. If you are, listener, if you're unhappy, you can choose to look around you and be grateful and be happy for what you have in your life, for who you are and what you have. It might not be tidy, it might not be comfortable, but you can choose to be happy. I always talk about, on my social media content, on the website, I talk about contentment and ease. There is something incredibly powerful when I feel content. And content doesn't mean that things are easy. Content means that I'm in alignment. My words, thoughts, and actions actually align to my values, to who I am. And the rigorous application of me in alignment, that leads to contentment.
Yep. Trying, growing, learning, failing, trying again, doing you again, failing, doing it again, succeeding this time.
What's the, I always get this wrong. I think it's Keats, or I don't know, some poet. But try, oh God, this is terrible. But basically it's all about failing better. Ever tried, ever failed, no matter. Try again, fail better.
Yeah. Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah. And Stan Wawrinka, the tennis player, the Swiss tennis player, has that tattooed on his left forearm. So every time he goes to serve, he sees it. So when he goes to bounce the ball, he sees it and he's like, no, just give it a go. Like the only way that you can do anything, you can win a tournament or anything, is by giving it a go. And if you lost the point, you got another point.
Yep. Or you lose the game and there's another tournament. Or maybe you got as far as you'll ever get, and that's okay. Yeah. If you have a problem with that, you made that up.
Yeah.
But if you're okay with it and you're like, well, I tried my best and got as far as I could in tennis and I love that, then that'll be your outcome. Maybe that's the choosing happiness bit, right? It's looking at your thoughts and being very careful with what thoughts and stories you tell yourself and believe within yourself. Because, we get the thoughts to kill our mother every now and again, but very few of us have ever followed through. I don't think that our thoughts have more power than us. But they do affect us. I guess with the choosing happiness thing, some listeners maybe are like, but I'm choosing right now, but it's not working. That's okay. Give it time. Neuroplasticity suggests that the brain rewires itself over time. Are we the same person we are when we were 5 years ago now? Not really. Yes, but no. It's very interesting. If you start choosing to be happy, like Phil is saying, I think maybe in 2 weeks and 2 months, your mood and your feelings may catch up to you, and you will abundantly feel happier by default. But until then, it is a choice for you to treat yourself well and think the thoughts that will help you, that are honest and real and fair and kind and loving, and then let your happiness catch up to you, or let your emotions and your mood and your physiological reactions catch up over time as perhaps neuroplasticity runs its course and your brain and your physiology acclimatized to the new way of treating yourself.
And that's fantastic, because the shortcut of that is not serving us. Which the shortcut of that, which there's complexity in your suggestion there, Ed, and that complexity is necessary. However, it gets shortcutted in Instagram philosophy on stationery or whatever, good vibes only.
Right.
And you can focus on the good and select and only focus on the good. Yeah.
Good
but
air quotes.
You're also missing out on the richness of life. If you're only focusing on the good, there's goodness in the bad. There is goodness in your loneliness.
I often talk about how if you've ever been to a funeral and cried your damn eyes out because the person or the pet or whatever was so beloved by you and so important to you, that your grief and your experience at the funeral, I asked them, would you trade that? Would you give that up? Oh, but you were crying the whole time. You were miserable. No, like, wasn't that a problem? Isn't that bad? Wouldn't you give it up? And they're like, no, please, no. Like, I want it. I'm like, why? Because it's important to you. It's a huge part of the vibrant tapestry of your life. And hell no, you wouldn't give it up. You know, the memory and that grief is the evidence, or not the evidence doesn't matter, but like it's the result of you loved that person and now they're not in your life in the way that they were before anymore. And that, fills you up with sadness and grief and lament for a while, and you will move through that, but you would never give it up. The good and the bad, they don't even exist anywhere other than in our own minds. Life just is. It keeps going. The trees don't care how sad you are.
That's true. That's true.
But we put good and bad onto everything. And if you're going to say positive emotions are good and negative emotions are bad, it's extremely reductive. It's ridiculous. Good vibes only is unsustainable. And people actually don't actually want that. If you're suffering now, if you're extremely lonely now, if you're extremely sad now, I get it. Yes, you are suffering and you probably have an excess of negative emotions. If you could change your situation, it might rebalance itself. But they're not bad emotions. Don't bring judgment into it. You don't need to. The emotions are what they are, and you can feel them. And if you've had enough of them, well, then you would be well advised to make some change.
Yeah. Yep. Even when it's scary.
Yeah, especially because it's scary. That's fun. Who wants life on easy mode? How long can you sit on a couch and be fed grapes and fanned by, handsome guys in loincloths with palm fronds? I mean, a good amount of time. But eventually...
Well, that seems pretty good.
Right? A couple of months at least, sure.
Yeah.
No, everyone listening knows right now that will not last. That easy mode and pleasant everything is not what your heart truly craves and desires and wants. It's not. You might ask me, well, Ed, what is? Well, spiritually speaking, perhaps it's letting you come through, you just fulfilling your own obligation to be yourself and let it come into the world. If you try that, tell me you don't feel a bit better. You don't feel a bit less compressed by all the expectations and requirements and shoulds and musts and need tos of the world.
Yeah. Yep. Yes. The easy is always appealing, but it is never satisfying for long.
When I talk to people, I talk about striving. And a lot of people cling on to their striving because they're like, it brings me the things that I want. When I push myself really hard, I do go for a jog. When I push myself really hard, I do finish the test. I can become a lawyer. It's like, yes, you can. But is it really getting you the result that you truly want? And also, doesn't this suggest that you're very afraid of not striving? What do you think you're going to do if you stop striving and let you happen, let the real you happen? Oh, I'm going to be on a couch. I'm going to eat pepperoni pizza and I'm going to just have sex on Grindr and have yucky hookups. And that's all I'll ever do because that's what I really, really want at the bottom of my heart. I don't think you quite really sit with that for a second. 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 5 weeks, unless you're afflicted by something that is causing you suffering that you're just trying to self-soothe for, you will not stay on that couch and only eat pepperoni pizza and have yucky Grindr hookups for the rest of your life. There's no way. You are full of so much more positive intent, caring, meaning, connecting, wanting, expressing, than perhaps you have any idea at the moment, because you've blinded yourself with striving and shoulds and musts, which are just invisible ideas that other people came up with that suggest what a good life is. And there's good again. It's just judgment. It's just other people's opinions and judgment that you are whole and complete, and there's a whole like giant universe of your own creative potential and possibility inside of you. That's when me and Phil are talking about let that out, let it be you. It's fucking exciting. You're not couch pizza slob. People who are afflicted by some kind of suffering that could probably be changed, change it, accept it, or leave it, they're the ones who are stuck on a couch or smoking weed every day or have an addiction to something because they're avoiding and dealing with the negative feelings that they don't want to have in relation to some problem that they are experiencing. Tackle the problem. No one just wants to sit on, filthy pizza couch or be fanned by, demigod sexy men forever. It's not how we are. That's not our nature. Let your nature come through. You'll be surprised what you do and what you achieve.
Love it. Well said. Really well said. The quote that you put in the blog post, and I want to explore this some more. So if you wrote, "We take life too seriously. We forget how weak, needy, and broken we are." Ed, how weak, needy, and broken are you?
Am I? Yeah. Good question.
That's why I asked it.
Very. And just as much as anybody else. As an individual creature, I wither and die. As the individual that I am, I can't control other people, right? So I can't make them fulfill all my needs. And so in that sense, I can't meet my own needs. So maybe I'm weak, and I'm also needy because I need my needs to be met. I'm weak because I can't get all of them met by myself. And I'm very sensitive. Everybody is. Why do you think manners are such a big deal in our society? We know that if grandma doesn't get her birthday card or doesn't get any love for a couple of months, or you miss a special day for her, we know how much that hurts. And that's why we care so much to be kind and to be courteous when, we're well, when we're functioning well and caring about other people. So yes, part of me and my experience of life is being weak, needy, and broken. So I looked back on this quote now that you've shown it back to me, and it's true, but it's not true. It's worth exploring. Broken. There's the Japanese art of kintsugi, right? Which is where they get pieces and then they sew them back together with like golden filigree or whatever it's called, the filler between the pieces, and it becomes a new work of art. And the idea is that the reconnected, reconstructed brokenness is its own form of beauty, and it absolutely is. To run around in the idea that you're perfect or that you should be or that you have to be or that you have to be great and strong all the time is outrageous. It's not possible. It's not human. Why should we wish for these things? It's just out of a sense of fear that people are going to see something within us that is lacking or not good enough. I don't believe in that. I don't have that within me. I'm different, but I'm not less than. I am weak, but I'm not less than. I am needy, but I'm not less than. I have been broken, and am I broken? I have been broken in a sense. It depends what you mean by it. But have I been through incredibly difficult things that have made me despair? Yes, absolutely. I've been through lots. I don't think you can really become a really solid people helper without having been through your own shit. It is, all the gays out there listening, if you've ever come out, you've already achieved so much in terms of self-acceptance and taking steps forward to help yourself and changing a set of beliefs that says, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I can't be me, to some level of, I can be, it is okay, I can accept reality. And that shows you that anyone who's done that has that extreme experience and personal knowledge of what it is to go from one way of thinking, feeling, which may be broken. I'm wrong. I'm disgusting. I'm a faggot. I'm going to get some gross disease. Jesus hates me. My family despise me. I'm not fulfilling my responsibilities. You can live in that world of darkness and wrongness and brokenness and judgment and shame, or you can get out of it. You can look at the stories and the thoughts that you're telling yourself and believing that inform that version of your own reality. So at that point, I guess it may be fair to say you are broken, and I have been there. Am I broken now? Absolutely not. But in a term, are we broken? Yeah, we're broken and then we're remade, and we're broken and remade. We never truly snap and break. I don't even think dying means that you're broken. I think dying's a natural consequence of living. But yeah, I hope I explained that. I am absolutely weak and incredibly strong. I'm extremely needy and yet incredibly capable. I have been broken and I am remade, and yeah, we're all a bit broken, aren't we? Oh my God, are you ready for this one, Phil?
Yeah. I have my pencil ready too. I'm just taking some notes. Yeah.
Are we not individual shards or fragments of one consciousness, one being, one entity of life, as I mentioned earlier? And if that is true, because I can't psychically reach out and touch you. When you're not around me, you're not part of my consciousness. You're not here.
This is a big disappointment, Ed. I'm gonna say.
We should be together forever.
I should be forefront of your mind. Yes.
Right. So as individual pieces of a greater whole, which I definitely feel, and yes, I have done mushrooms before, and yes, that did make it easier to feel this feeling, but you can feel it without mushrooms. You can get it through meditation as well, but you also don't need meditation just to start pulling on the thread of the idea that we're all connected. I think if you just shut up and sit down and just be still and just exist for a moment, you'll feel it. You'll feel this connection. Why do I love everyone? Why can I not stop caring? I think because this is a deeply spiritual thing that some people listening just may not be ready to hear. Maybe they are. We are one thing. We are connected. We are intimately the same but different. And so are we not broken? I am just one shard. And this is probably my yearning for why do I love connecting with my partner, or men generally, or everybody really. But like, don't I want to stick my body inside someone's body and squirt my juices in them because I deeply, deeply, deeply want and need and feel a desperate yearning and need to connect in the most intimate way possible? I think so. You know, when you have that sex that's so fucking good, you're like trying to like smash your soul together with the person. That's what that fucking is. It's this incredible fantasy, and it gives you the most outrageous endorphins when you're like, let's merge.
Yeah.
I want to fuck, yeah, but I want to merge.
Yeah. And not in a corporate way. Yes. Yeah.
No lawyers.
Yeah, no lawyers and no acquisitions either. Yeah, we don't own someone.
But we are just pieces. So you know what? Until just now, I hadn't really explored this wide or deep, but yeah, we are broken because we're pieces. We're pieces of a whole. We're connected to it all, but we're not one with it because we're individuals. We are individuals, but that creates our need to connect and belong and support. And yeah.
Ed, wow. Wow.
Not your everyday conversation, right?
Well, no. It is my everyday conversation. It's totally my jam. This is why I'm here. This is why I do this. Because, you know, the audience, like the listener, the viewer, they're here because they want to connect. They want to spend time actually talking about things that they might not ever have in their life the capacity to talk about. They might not have the people around them who can go to these places. You know, they might not be, you know, it might be surrounded by people who just don't go below the surface. And
I have an incredible quote that I found for that recently.
Yeah.
Would you like to hear it? I'm just trying to find it so that I don't get it wrong.
That's all right. You know, I've got a track record of getting quotes wrong. You know,
but I have to be perfect, Phil. I have to be perfect all the time.
Some poet guy said this.
So I just finished Lost Connections by Johann Hari.
Yep.
Right. So this isn't a widely quoted thing, but it really stuck out to me. So here's a quote from the book. So he's quoting someone else. Loneliness isn't the physical absence of other people, he said. It's the sense that you're not sharing anything that matters with anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
If you have lots of people around you, perhaps even a husband or wife or a family or a busy workplace, but you don't share anything that matters with them, then you'll still be lonely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, you can go to a baseball game or a soccer game or whatever. There's 1,000 people. You can feel lonelier there than ever before.
Yep. That's
Yeah,
me.
especially if you don't like sport.
Yeah.
I have nothing in common with these people. I'm not achieving any connection.
But the thing,
Damn.
I love that book.
Mm.
And it's such a source of inspiration for me. And what I want after that to add, and I remember reading that, and I'm going, yep, I agree with you. Critically, and this goes to my work in the 3 pillars of connection.
Mm. Hit me.
The 3 pillars of connection are connection to self, connection to those most important to you, and connection to community.
Mm.
When we say that connection is the antidote to loneliness, that's actually the truth. But unless you are being you, making a conscious decision to allow yourself to be who you are in that moment, whenever you go to do connection outside of yourself, so with those who are most important, and those like in community, however we define community, however we find it, like the connection that you get, if you're not being you, is not going to touch the sides.
Nope.
So,
the fake
so
you gets
you can have, like, you know, be in the midst of a party and be the life of the party. But if you feel empty inside, if you feel like your life is performative, that you're living someone else's life, all the adoration, all the social media followers, all the people who fawn over you, who want to get to know you, who want to be you, who want to bed you, whatever it is, like, it's not going to touch the sides.
Yep.
Eventually.
Yeah, it's a sad truth.
So,
well, just not even at the beginning. If you have to get drunk to feel comfortable enough to be lively at a party because you think you should be, or that's good, or people will like you, it's because you're afraid of yourself. But what they really want to see is you, but you're too afraid to let them because you think who and what you are is not good enough or wrong or less than, and you've been taught to think that way. I don't think anyone grows up and is like, I'm a stinky poo-poo. Like, I'm shit. Like, I'm terrible. I don't think we do that. I remember being 5 and it's like, mummy, look at me jump in the water. I'm a fucking water jumping machine, mum. Check me out.
Yeah.
Where did that one go?
Yeah. I want to see you jump in puddles. I'd watch that. Like, you know, just to see how your skills have gone. Like,
I know, right? How they progressed.
Like, it's like 28 years of practice.
Let's do it.
You know, and you know, that's some mega splashing there. Well done, Ed.
That's some hot YouTube content we can create right there. We get designer weddings, we chuck them on, puddles, bam.
Yeah, bam, indeed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, like, the critical thing that when we leap to do connection, we leap to and this goes to an absolute central tenet of my work here at the Loneliness Guy. Your loneliness, listener, viewer, Ed, your loneliness, me, my loneliness is mine. It's not for anyone else to fix. Like, I could have the best relationship with Jeff, and I do. Like, the relationship is great, but it's not his responsibility to fix my loneliness. It's not my coach's responsibility to fix my loneliness. It's not my besties. It's not my family's. It's no one's responsibility. My responsibility when I'm feeling lonely is to understand it. It's not to fix it, because to fix means that we're broken. You're not broken. You're human, having a human experience. It needs understanding because it's trying to tell you something. Just like thirst tells you that you need to drink, just like hunger tells you that you're hungry, loneliness tells you that you need connection. And it's as important as paying attention to your hunger and eating, paying attention to your thirst and drinking. It's as important as that, as a base level. It's that important. But the stories that we tell ourselves about what our loneliness means, that we're broken, that we're a failed human, that we're unworthy of love and belonging, that stops me from reaching out, because essentially, like, I'm lonely, I need connection, is what we're telegraphing to the world, to those around us, when we come out as lonely. And coming out as lonely is so important to getting connection. So important, because it's owning a part of you.
It's an instant problem solve as well, because if you tell me I'm lonely, I want to cuddle, that act of vulnerability and openness makes me want to cuddle you. It's not because of what you look like or whatever the fuck. If you're a plague bearing leper, I might be like, oh, sorry, I'm not sure that I can hug you today. But if you're a human being or a goat and you can tell me that you're lonely and you'd love a cuddle, and you deliver that in an authentic, real way, I cannot help but fall in love with you and want to give you that cuddle. If you tell yourself you're a loser because you want to cuddle, you're debilitating yourself. You're 100% right, Phil.
Yeah. And so, like this is like, we need to own it. We need to own it and then understand it.
Yeah.
And there is a temptation to put a just there, but that owning it and that understanding it is hard. That's what I'm here for. But one of the things, Ed, like so many things in what you've just shared there, like I've got 3 words down here in terms of kintsugi. I've actually written content based on kintsugi about a year ago, and it's called Cracks Are Sexy. And I chose that name mainly because I wanted to, put on social media a whole lot of butts. And it's like, your crack is sexy. There's nothing unsexy about cracks. I know. It's fun with words. My jam.
Yeah.
But it goes to, like, and I make the point in that blog post, like, there is beauty in how the cracks come together. And the bowl, the cup, the bowl full of mush, whatever it is that's being cracked and brought back together, it's actually stronger and more beautiful and interesting than what it was before.
Yeah.
And then, but what we want ourselves to be, like, we look at someone's, we look at someone's crack and go, that's beautiful, right? And what an interesting bowl, like, it's an amazing. However, we want ourselves to be the stack of identical white bowls that you get at IKEA for 90 cents.
Yeah, blemishless. Can you imagine meeting that guy at the party? Just think of the opposite of the cracked and remade guy. Oh, hi, I'm Brian. I have a loving, caring family that was very pleasant to me, and I went to a school where I had no problems, and I learnt maths, and now I'm at university studying physics, and I'm content and nice, and I have 5 friends and 1 home loan and 1 pleasant car.
Yep.
What the fuck? How do I engage with you? Like, what do I even ask that guy?
Yep.
What do I care about that guy? It's hard. He's untouchable. His surface is too slippery. I can't get in there. There's no cracks to hold on to engage into, to open up, to ask about, to want to know about, to explore. Yeah.
So can you see the fun with words that I had with all of that? Like, the cracks make you beautiful. Like, your crack, there is nothing unattractive about a butt, right? So, and it's the crack. And so, dear. Like, my kids, they will not listen to this, but I used to say to them, like, they'd be running along, off to have a bath or something like that, and doing a nutty run from the bedroom to the bathroom kind of thing. And it's like, 2, 3 years old or whatever. I'm like, oh my God. Like, they'd be running away from me, like, oh my God, what's the matter? Like, what happened? And they're like, they'd stop with, like, oh, what? I'm like, what happened to your butt? And they're like, and they'd be like reaching around, like looking at it, like, it's got a crack in it. And yeah, it's still like, it's peak comedic filmable gold right there.
Well, you are a dad. What would you be without dad jokes?
I know. It's like, your butt's broken, it's got a crack in it.
Oh dear.
So yeah, but anyway, like, the cracks, kintsugi, I just wanted to say, like, there's content there on this about how the cracks actually make you beautiful and interesting, and you need to own it.
Yeah.
So I'm really glad that you went there. Second is the paradox.
Yeah.
And in your, you're weak, but you are strong.
Yeah.
You're needy, but you are also self-sufficient. You're broken. You've been broken. You will be broken again. But you don't want it any other way, because that's life. You can come back together. Might be a different shape or whatever, but until your body gives out on you and you expire, that is, when it comes to loneliness, the paradox is everything, and the paradox is beautiful. Because we can get in this whole kind of right, wrong, good, bad dichotomy, and it's false. Loneliness is a gift. Loneliness is shit, but it is a gift.
It's kind of proof of your humanity, right?
It's proof of your humanity, and it's the only way that your body tells you that you're not getting the connection that you need. It's not fun or convenient, but it's the way.
As soon as you say to someone, I'm lonely, you become infinitely more human to me. And there's a reason I'd rather have sex and connect with people than mannequins. Mannequins can be whatever size, shape, and color, everything that I want, right? But that's not what I want.
Yep.
I want a person.
I want a human.
Yeah.
Like someone who is in the business of being human, and being their form of human, unapologetically. I said this on your podcast. And I think you asked, one of those quick rapid fire questions. So listener, viewer, I was on Ed's podcast a few weeks ago, and Ed's podcast, just quick plug, is awesome. He is funny and naughty and so wise and insightful. It's like a great combo. But Ed, you asked a question for me, of me. It's like, Peter Pan or
Bigfoot or Tinkerbell? Bigfoot or a male version of Tinkerbell? Yeah. What's your preference? And I'm like, you got to pick one.
Yeah, and I was like, ooh. And listener, viewer, perhaps unsurprisingly, like his rapid fire questions, I'm like, ooh, I'm going to go with third choice. And this is why. And we went on for like 10 minutes about it on every answer. But to me, like the answer to that, do you remember my answer?
No. I have a terrible memory recall, but I just keep living and it hasn't stopped me yet. So I don't remember. This
has been great, Ed. But yeah, it's time for you to go now.
Like, fuck. You're not important to me. That's what I'm saying. I don't care about you.
Maybe if I was in your consciousness, even if you couldn't see me,
right.
then that, this would solve this awkwardness.
We got to get those implants.
But basically, I'm like, oh, if Yeti owns who they are, if Tinkerbell owns who they are and is unapologetically themselves, that's what I find sexy. Because I know how hard it is and how courageous it is to be who you are, to allow yourself to be and to be who you are.
I bet you there's an element there, Phil, that for the longest time, that was something super impossibly hard for you. And so that's part of why you value it so incredibly much. And it means so much to you.
Yep. Yep. Like straight up. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So, someone who struggled with my sexuality for almost 30 years before I accepted myself. So listener, viewer,
we're helpers, right? We help people. Oh, sorry, the internet got a bit funny there.
Yeah.
I think I'm back.
Yes.
I was just saying we are people helpers, and there's a phrase that says, there's the two ones that most people probably know, which is hurt people and heal people. But there's also you teach best that which you most need to learn. And that again ties into this idea that you love, either a Yeti or a male Tinkerbell that is being themselves the most, that authenticity you love and yearn for it. Well, that just parallels the idea that we teach best that which we most need to learn. And all of that's utterly acceptable. Neither of us needs to be perfect. No, I help helpers as well. I've got some psychologists and counselors and stuff on my books, or I have had. And there's always this level of worry that, oh, I'm a helper, I have to be sorted, I have to have everything, I have to be good at this. No, you don't. No, you don't.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of business managers that out there and people leaders that deep down in their heart, they're like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I'm a failure, and everybody knows it, and I'm lonely, and I'm afraid, and I'm no good at anything. And that's the stories and the narratives that are going on inside of them. And yet, when it comes to other people, they know exactly how to treat them really well and help them and motivate them and spur them on and give them really sage wisdom advice. Anyway, so yeah, all of that is to just, I don't know, I guess see you, recognize you, see
Yep.
me, recognize me, and every other listener out there that may be a helper that questions themselves and their ability to help and connect with others in any way. You don't got to have it all. You don't need to be perfect. There's no such thing. And your best is good enough.
Yep. Yes. Yes. Amen. Testify.
Testify.
Yeah. Suddenly we're Southern Baptists.
I want to do that role play. I've never been to church. I think it's a crime in today's society that church has died, but we've not replaced it.
Yeah, I think you're really right. We can get such a sense of community from that, and it goes to the third point in a seamless segue.
Nice.
To being awed and knowing that we are shards of the same mirror, and that feeling of connection that we get when we are a little part of a big whole, like WHOLE.
Come on.
Right. And
we can all be the same whole, get pounded together.
Well, there we go.
And treat us right, start slow, use lots of lube.
Exactly. And then, just sort of bring it home. But the one of the things that I say to my clients, like across the whole work that I do, is we need regularly to be awed. AWED for those in North America who that's not hit over the head with an oar, but that's odd. And
yeah, it is.
Which sounds like odd. ODD.
Odd.
So what we need to, if you can, wherever you are in the world, tonight, look up at the stars. Very easy to do here in Canberra. But you look up at the stars and tell me that after really sitting quietly looking at the stars, that you don't feel infinitesimally small. But the stuff that makes you, that makes me, that makes you, Ed, carbon, also makes that. All of that.
I mean, look at your hands and then try to see a single skin cell, and then look in the skin cell at all the organelles, and then look inside every single cell of your body to the DNA, which you cannot see with the human eye, and then look inside the DNA for the little strands and the connections. Do you know how long it takes to read a single string of a cell of DNA? You can be awed and look inwards as well. You can look anywhere and be awed. What is going on around us is absolutely fucking crazy and ridiculous. Where I stick my dick in with who is completely irrelevant.
Yeah. Oh,
take a step back, baby.
Suddenly,
I didn't get that raise.
Yeah.
Shit.
Well, I think there are some who would believe that where we stick our dicks actually controls the fate of the whole universe.
Well, it does. You have to stick it in far enough to find out.
It's the power of that. We need to be reminded of our powerfulness. And I think one of the things that I really wanted to ask you about, and knowing that we're kind of getting on for time here, but I really want to ask is what was the thing? What was or was there a thing, or what was the series of events that brought you to your life coach journey? So it picks up on that point of you being a helper and wanting, essentially, I'm going to paraphrase this because this applies to me, provide the service to others that you wish you had? What's, like, without doubt, you're wise,
Mm-hmm.
you're insightful. I'm going to say wise beyond your years almost,
Mm.
and insightful. And your unique blend of you
Mm.
has you showing up in the world with the courage to do so.
Mm.
But what was the thing that, what was the, I guess, the decision point in the road where you're like, I could go left and stay small and safe, or I could go right. And that going right, even though it was scary, has led you to getting to this point now.
Oh man. Yeah. Oof. I think this is possibly, I like engaging with this, but it's possibly like the most personal question that someone could ask me at this point in my life, which is awesome. And I genuinely thank you for asking it. I will attempt not to talk your entire life away as I talk about myself endlessly from here on out.
You're allowed.
Thank you. I'm taking little points and I will get to the key things. But let me just dwell on this question just that little bit longer. So that one key thing is like this burning fire inside of me that was lit, that is the fucking house burnt down of I was a little gay boy and I didn't know what was going on. And then I became an old gay boy, like 12, and then things changed again. And then you get to 13, 14, 15. Those were extremely formative years. Lots of, everyone's gay experience is different, but like I had a lot of angst and anguish. I was a very angry teenager. I internalized all of this extremely deeply and it hurt a lot. It hurt every day until it didn't. And that journey created such a indelible trench in, it's not a bad thing. It's a thing. Like Oprah and different people talk about like turning your fire into your fuel, or turning your shit into your fuel that stokes the fires. That thing is enormous within me, and maybe it's because I'm a deep sensitive soul or whatever. Maybe it's some characteristic about me, but that pain and that struggle and that difficulty, and when I really engage with the idea of it, that we would leave perfectly perfect young boys and girls and in between people out in the cold because they're different, is so deeply dark and fucked and against my like instinct to love and care and protect and be together with all people. That is just so strong within me. I'm certain that it's equally strong in other people, but somehow I channel that together and I'm like, this could easily be good enough for my purpose, my cause, my mission. So there's that, right? I've always liked my own independence and my own agency. I didn't ever really love authority or following the rules. Yes, that manifested in different ways at different times. And I'm thinking of school, I'm thinking Air Force cadets, but keeping it brief, I do love myself a lot and I will talk, is that I've always been interested in business. So that's genuinely another angle. I was like, oh my God, I could work for myself. Then I think the third one is like, there was a time when I took a risk and I got myself in extreme trouble. And this caused me an enormous head-driven internal spiral of anxiety and questioning my goodness and what the future was. And I experienced severe acute anxiety for a short amount of time as I grappled with that thing. And as I was grappling with that, and it was really fucking me up in a few different ways, and just for listeners, just for everyone to know, like, this isn't something I'd really experienced my whole life. It was in reaction to a certain event, and it was having all of these impacts on me. And so I Googled, self-help stuff. I got myself a psychologist, but while I was doing the self-helping and the exploring and the learning and growing, I came across coaching, and I was just like, oh, this just sounds like people pretending to be psychologists and charging more. And in a lot of cases, that is true. And a lot of coaches out there are really unethical weirdos. And then a lot of them really are not. And there is a body of work and an understanding of how to live, and a blend of like ancient wisdom and modern ideas that builds on generation and generation of people and thinkers. And then, of course, out of the main body of positive psychology, which is an American thing from like the 1960s, and then it grew and grew. The idea that we can get average people in and make average people great, instead of just being an acute medical responsive, like dealing with quote unquote broken people. We'll just deal with people, but make people excellent. But everyone thinks they're broken. So, so this incident happened to me. So I simultaneously had all of these things happen. My job itself at the time was coming to an end, and it was a short but successful sales career that was actually just burning me out because, man, that's all the reasons. But ultimately, I knew that wasn't for me. And I found within coaching something really, truly, deeply, I was like, oh, my skepticism, while warranted, is being answered. I am finding the answers to my legit questions. And there is proof in here that this is a fantastic way to help people. And I engaged with it myself, and it helped me. I stopped living in my head that was giving me anxiety, making meaning out of my situation, making problems out of everything, dwelling on the future cyclically. What does this all mean? What's going to happen to me? What are people going to do? And engaging with all of the coaching content and all the self-help that I did. And funnily enough, the psychologist I got, she was a lovely lady. She was really old. She's like 70, but lifetime of experience. You know, there's nothing quite like a good grandma to like just accept fucking everything. There's nothing she hasn't seen. There's nothing she hasn't heard. Come on now, grandmas, represent. She worked very pragmatically, much more like a coach. And I said that with her. She's like, yeah, I don't have time to fuck around. You know, I'll talk to my client. I'll be like, what's wrong? No, we're like, really, what's wrong? You know, what's wrong? Like, she'll sit with people and she'll listen and she'll give them space, as any good people helper would. But then she's like, okay, well, how about we don't fuck around anymore? What's wrong? And I was like, I don't expect that from a psychologist. She's like, well, it's very effective. And I was like, I really like you, Anne. I really like you. She would sit with my thing. She would hear what I have to say. She was reasonable, caring, all of those things. But then we didn't fuck around. She's like, this, and this seem to be hurting you. And I was like, yeah, I've actually read that elsewhere as well. She's like, cool, I agree. Go practice that. Like, go do it. Make the change the things. Also, that thing, that's your responsibility. Do that. She had this thing, it's like jump the wall. I think it's a very common psychology thing. It's like a knee-high wall. I actually don't know this concept very well. You got to jump over it. So I did, and I did. So personal experience, my whole life story, also my personal characteristics towards what I love and care about, and how I work as like the spark of consciousness that is what we call Edward Wilson. I've always liked communication. I've always liked the soft skills, the people skills. Maths and stuff is beautiful and fantastic, and I have a deep respect and admiration for it, but I don't need to be the guy that does it. There's better equipped people to be the mathematicians, the physicists, the other jobs. They don't have to be me. All of those things aligned for me, and I was like, wow, shit, I can't delay a day longer. This is scary, but it looks way better than it looks bad. And thankfully at the time I had me and my partner had moved to Sydney. We've been here 4 years now, but at the time we'd been here 2 years, and we'd been house sitting before coronavirus. So we'd saved up about $50,000. I don't mind talking about money. And so that actually gave us what in startup terms is called runway. But yeah, it gave us the padding and the social safety, or the safety, the financial security and safety to try something like this. And my boyfriend, being just the absolute superstar, love of my life that he is, was more than encouraging. And every time I faltered, or I was unsure, or I was like, maybe this is too much risk. Maybe this is stupid. Am I putting you in danger? Am I stupid? Am I getting deluded in a cult of coachiness? He would just be there for me and talk it through with me and explore it with me, and then say, I believe in you. I see the passion in you. I know that you love this. Why are you questioning yourself? And that would get me to check myself again. And he made it that much easier. And yeah, here I am today, a bunch of successful past clients, 25 current clients, 3 years in since I kind of began and found it. Now I'm just rolling, and I'm doing a podcast, and I'm doing a book as well. So I'm living, laughing, loving.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, because one of the thing there that I really want to highlight is I guess, jumping the wall. And having the courage to go right at forks in the road. And in that share, I could tell was a whole lot of overcoming, or working with, not overcoming, but working with doubt, working through some really tough thoughts and feelings. And having that, however long, that was, let's say 5 minutes of you talking about your experience, there's a lot in that 5 minutes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. These were the hardest thoughts and feelings I'd ever dealt with in my life, harder than the whole gay thing. And that was impossible because I was a teenager and you have no resources, and it couldn't be more personal, but this was even harder.
I'm so glad that you owned, got curious, and got a team around you. For without that, without your bravery, without your curiosity, and without your team, we'd not be talking.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wouldn't be as thrilled as I am with my 10 out of 10 life, where I'm just killing it, doing what I love. With freedom, safety, and connection. Absolutely. This is what we tell our clients. Cool, we're coaches or whatever. We know things, we help people, sure, but you're doing it.
Yeah.
People come to us and they think that they're the damsel in the tower, and they're like, save me, save me. And they're also ashamed of being the damsel in the tower asking to be helped. And I just shout up to them. I'm like, hey, turn around. There's a suit of armor right there. You have a whole body. You can wear it. There's a pony there too. Jump on. Now ride down those stairs. Come join me. Let's go to the beach.
Yeah.
You are the knight that is.
It's like, take the suit of armor off at the beach
Before you get in the water.
That's just like the whole like, that's just trouble written all over it.
Could be fun for a bit, but then walk back out quickly.
And it's like the Tin Man all rusted.
But yeah, every client's achievements and my achievements at that time in my life are mine because I did it. But the team around me helped me profoundly, and I couldn't have done it without them. But I also did it in exactly the same way that anybody that's going to reach out to you and say, I am lonely and I want to fucking do something about it, they will, if they do, get their achievement, and it will be them.
Yep.
And I only put that caveat on it because you don't have to succeed. Nothing has to go any particular way. There's no has to. Nothing needs to anything. Everything just is. And if you go and you try your best to conquer your loneliness and Phil helps you, you did that. You did that because you asked him for his help. He's a subject matter expert and you both did it, but really you did it.
Yep.
And so did I. And I've done it, and so can they. We're all human. We're not fucking special. We're extremely special. We're not at all special. Yes, we are. No, we're not. Yes, we are.
We're extremely special, just like everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah. Wow. Thanks. I'm so uplifted by that.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's very freeing though, isn't it? How freeing is it to just accept that you're just human, and that's absolutely fucking okay.
Yeah. I accept that just. In that sentence.
Even if you have cancer right now, even if you have diagnosed bipolar, even if you have diagnosed anything at all, you're just human. I'd argue that it's possible that you're absolutely fucking okay right now, and you have cancer, and you're bipolar, and you're okay. You're living, you're experiencing, you'll die eventually, so will I. Cool. Maybe I'll see you there. I don't know. But right now, are we really not okay? Like right now, are we not okay? I think we are. We just might want to change some things.
Yeah.
And we might have a lot of feelings. Doesn't mean that we're not okay or that we're not well enough to do something about it. I mean, if you are incapacitated, if you are hamstrung, if you are in prison tied up right now, sure, there's a lot of things you can't do. And that is true. As soon as you do have more resources, do it.
Yeah.
If you can't, you can't. It's not right or wrong, good or bad.
Yeah.
But if you can, you should try. That's one of the very few shoulds that I stand behind because it aligns with my values, who I believe I am, and what I want for you, which is the best life for you, whatever that looks like. So that's a should, because I believe it. That's me saying should. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I think I'll allow it. I'll allow that one. I'm very triggered though by the word should.
Are you?
Yes.
Well, you said need to a few times.
Yeah. Well, I think if we replace should with must.
Or want to?
Yeah.
Should,
Absolutely.
must?
Absolutely. I think if we if we replace should with must, and if that sentence doesn't make us feel like doing it, like, okay, well, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Whose should have you just picked up?
Yeah. Good. Yes, I've not done it that way round before, but it's the same result, and it's a worthy question of your motivation.
Yeah.
Nice.
And pulling on the thread of the should, pulling on the thread of the just, pulling on the thread of the try. All of these red flag words for me that really go to like how I do my work, how I show up for you, just like I showed up, in this conversation for you, Ed.
Yeah.
Listener, viewer, for you.
Doing this and being aware of these words and understanding the power of our ability to create our own version of reality with the words that we use.
Or to justify the reality that we've created.
Yeah. Or explain or avoid or obfuscate. Yeah, absolutely. Our ability to do that and our learning and our experience of that is a huge part of how we help people. So
yeah. Ed, gonna have to wrap it up reluctantly. How can people find you?
Thank you, Phil. So my name's Ed Wilson. I run Brown Bear Coaching. You can find me on Instagram at Brown Bear Coaching. You can go to brownbearcoaching.com to find out more. There's a bunch of content there. I'm really bad at updating my blog, but there's heaps of posts on Instagram. So even if you don't have an account, use your browser or whatever and check out my posts. There's tons. My podcast is at Gayborhood Podcast on Instagram. You can find that wherever you download good podcasts. And my book is coming. I'm so excited about it. I have the Instagram at A Gay Man Book. So please do follow that. Currently, it's got like 6 followers, but don't worry. By the time you hear this, and certainly in 2023, 2024, it's going to be huge. I see no reason why not. So at A Gay Man Book, at Gayborhood Podcast, at Brown Bear Coaching. I guess I'm an Instagram fiend. It's really because I just can't be bothered doing anything else. I'm too busy
to
do any other platforms. Yeah, it's enough. It's enough.
Listener, viewer, check out the show notes, and I'll put links all over it. And if you go into the blog post, there's also a link to Ed's website and to his Instagram as well. I won't get into the confusion. Like, this is the 20th of September. The blog post gets published, but you'll be listening to it, listener, to this like when the blog post has been published for a week, bending the time space continuum here,
as we podcasters do. Yes.
Yeah. It's like trying to create something that has longevity. So rarely talk about world events, rarely mention dates, because otherwise it just dates us. But so thanks, Ed, you just ruined it.
Again, I'm good at that. I'm very good at that.
Shaking shit up. Ed, I want to say how much I really honor and recognize the courage that it takes to show up as you. You showed up, you dispensed some wisdom, which you were going to do anyway. That was like, that's a switch that you can't turn off. But I want to say the real value, because everything else that you said was valueless. No, the real value, the real nuggets of wisdom there that you kind of dropped, but particularly in the sharing of your story. It is always a privilege and an honor to receive someone's story of loneliness, because they're powerful. And seeing what happens when you own it, when you own your story, doesn't make it comfortable, but you get the choice, you get to choose, you get the choice to determine what you do with that. And I'm sure what happened you could have succumbed to it.
Yeah.
You could have let that overwhelm you.
Yep.
And perhaps it did for a while.
A
But
little bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that you made the decision that led you to being here, sharing your wisdom, your wit, your awesome mega brain.
Thank you, brain.
with me and my audience.
Yeah. My pleasure. My absolute pleasure. Thank you very much. The hardest things I've ever been through in my life are directly one-to-one related to my personal superpowers, which are very average, normal human powers, but my experiences have enabled me to have them. So I don't regret anything I've been through. And it would be impossible to love myself completely if I had a problem with my story or my history. So it's a false choice. If you want to love yourself, you have to accept yourself and everything that's ever happened to you.
Ed Wilson, thank you.
I won't stop. I won't stop.
No, I'm pulling the plug. No, just reluctantly, but thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right. Thank you, YouTube. I was about to say Instagram. Ed, you've got me thinking Instagram. YouTube, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope, by all means, check Ed out. Like all the links are going to be in the notes here. So
can I do the YouTube thing? Hit like, hit the bell button, hit subscribe, check out this video, check out this video.
Yeah, if I could do all of that. But you're going to be my go-to model for all of the,
I'm giving you the frames
and the exits. Now. The exits are here and all that kind of stuff. But thank you so much, Ed. Thank you so much, viewer. And until the next episode, I'll catch you later.